I warn you, in the name of the two that back me, Imam Mahdi and Al-Masih the Messiah. The Quran says, had we wished to take a pastime before ourselves, we would have done it. Nay, we cast truth and falsehood till we knock out this brain. So all of us who want change, if we are too cowardly to write the truth, too cowardly to speak the truth, too cowardly to live for the truth, and too cowardly to die for the establishment of the truth, then you're too cowardly to have the sneer removed from you.
What planet was in the position of the moon right now before the moon got there?
The moon come from the earth? And blue with it. How did it come from the earth? The moon came from the earth?
Absolutely.
How?
Broke away from the earth, absolutely.
And made two perfect balls? Made two perfect balls in the sky too, huh? Yeah, I know. Made two perfect balls. They blew up a goddamn bomb in Japan, and that tilted this motherfucker on its axis. Changed it by some degrees. So what if this bitch blew up? How did that happen? What made it separate? What made it separate?
Collision, brother.
It was good.
But this is mass. If he hit this motherfucker, it would have... That's you know what I'm saying? A perfect ball?
Yeah, but the gas gravity that pool.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in a series of lectures that he gave titled The Theology of Time, he mentioned that the earth and the moon were at one time one planet. And that planet was called Moon, populated by the original black people. There were no races at that time. But a great black scientist wanted to get all the people to speak the same dialect, and he was frustrated and disappointed that he could not enforce his will, and out of his frustrations and disappointment, he decided to use his power to destroy the planet and all those on it. The Honorable Elijah.
Assalamu alaikum. This is your brother, Malcolm Flex. And first, I would like to open in the name of Allah, who appeared to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. And I also bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is his last and greatest messenger and exalted Christ. And I also would like to bear witness that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is divine, warner, and teacher in our midst. And I would like to greet you, the viewer, with the greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Thank you all for tuning in for this latest broadcast, this latest video that I have put together to answer in response to all of the critics who think that it is just only mythology, it's just only a legend, that it's not possible for the moon to come from the earth. So I put together some material, dear family, that you all can check out in this video, and also go and look at some of the sources yourself. Please excuse me, I have a sore throat. But yeah, so the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us, okay, that the planet is 78 trillion years old, okay, and he teaches us that there was a God who was among the people at that time, 66 trillion years ago, who wanted the people, all the people, to speak one dialect. It is also documented in our brother Dr. Wesley Muhammad's book, The Book of God. If you have not read it, you can go and purchase it online. And it's called The Book of God. Okay? And what he's teaching that he got from Allah God who came in the person of Master Father Muhammad, that this God that was on the planet at the time drilled or dug an explosive, a high explosive, into 2/3 of our planet, okay, and separated the moon from the earth, okay, out of dissatisfaction and out of disappointment, okay, and this is where we get our current satellite from, our current moon. It was once a part of the planet, but now it is orbiting the planet, okay? And so we have a lot of critics who don't believe that something like that is possible. They think that the moon is a perfect sphere and the earth is a perfect sphere, but the moon and the earth are not perfect round circles at all, okay? Our dear beloved sister, Dr. Ava Muhammad, she notes in her lecture, The Deportation of the Moon in the Lost City of Atlantis, that the moon was once in the place that we now call the Atlantic Ocean. And she said originally there was a landmass there that it is now called Atlantis. She said that that's where the actual city of Atlantis was, and where they now call the Atlantic Ocean. Okay? And she said when this God dug that high explosive into the earth, that it caused a great explosion and sent it into the sky. Okay? And all of the water that was around that area came like a vacuum, and the massive hole that was there was filled up with water, and that's how we get our Atlantic Ocean. Okay, so you can find a lecture on my YouTube channels. It's called The Deportation of the Moon and the Lost City of Atlantis. It's a very good lecture. But let me play some clips for you from our critics.
Y'all niggas still talking about motherfucking big head scientists, y'all cool and shit. Blew the motherfucking earth. And I keep asking these motherfuckers, they say the motherfucker had dynamite and he put the dynamite in the earth and blew the earth in half. Half of it became the moon and half of it. Now, this motherfucker made out of granite and all. Motherfucker, you see a motherfucker drop a bomb on this bitch, it's gonna be trauma. It's gonna be shit tore up. How the fuck you blow the moon and earth into two perfect balls, nigga? Without no, you know what I'm saying? And you know, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I'm saying? And how the fuck?
See, now he's saying that first of all, we teach that the circumference of the planet Earth is 24,896,000 miles. Okay, and the square mileage of the planet Earth is 196,940,000 square miles. Okay, so approximately 25,000 miles in circumference. But we teach that originally the planet Earth was 35,000 miles in circumference. So when the moon separated from the earth, Okay, that's how you get 25,000 square miles. So it's not a perfect half or nothing like that. You know, and they're not perfect spheres because the moon, although it rotates, you never see the back side of the moon. You never see the dark side of the moon, the far side of the moon. You only see the face of the moon. Okay? But we're going to go into that science in a second. I just want you all to finish listening to this, brother.
Y'all niggas still talking about motherfucking big head scientists, y'all cool and shit. Blew the motherfucking earth. And I keep asking these motherfuckers, they say the motherfucker had dynamite and he put the dynamite in the earth and blew the earth in half. Half of it became the moon and half of it. Now, this motherfucker made out of granite and all. Motherfucker, you see a motherfucker drop a bomb on this bitch, it's gonna be trauma. It's gonna be shit tore up. How the fuck you blow the moon and earth into two perfect balls, nigga? Without no, you know what I'm saying? And you know, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I'm saying? And how the fuck could you have been on this bitch? You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker drop an atomic bomb, nigga, even if they drop that bitch in Asia, niggas over here in North America gonna feel that shit.
See, the black man is God, you know what I'm saying? And we are the scientists of the planet Earth. So this goes to show you that this brother does not study at all, okay? You can find all this stuff out very little study. I put all this stuff together in a day.
So if they put enough TNT in this bitch to blow the motherfucking earth in half, it wouldn't be a nigga alive to tell the motherfucking story, man. Get the fuck, you done blew the earth out of its orbit. You done motherfucking destroyed everything on this planet, man. This bitch would not be inhabitable. And so for y'all to continue to lie and teach this shit, and then somebody
Elijah Muhammad said this scientist was a black man, and his intention was to destroy the black man. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that Allah taught him that this scientist drilled a hole 2/3 deep into the planet and filled it with high explosives and set it off. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the great Mahdi, Master Farad Muhammad, taught him that in that explosion the moon was blasted away from this part to the distance of approximately 12,000 miles. She turned over, emptying the water from that part onto this part, which we now call Earth, depriving herself of life.
Okay, so now the minister is explaining what happened, but as you heard this brother say that, you know, he used dynamite and all that stuff to blow it up and whatnot, he don't believe it, okay? But we're going to watch this.
And this is why the earth is 3/4 water, 1/4 land. Now the scientists are in agreement with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that when they sent their astronauts up to visit the moon, they brought back rocks from the moon, and they said that those rocks smelled like gunpowder.
All wind systems still looking good.
According to all 12 of the first-hand accounts that describe what it's like on the surface of the moon, Earth's only natural satellite smells like burnt gunpowder. 6 of NASA's Apollo missions that landed on the moon between 1969 and 1972 allowed the astronauts to walk on the lunar surface. The early mission moonwalks ranged around 2.5 hours, and by Apollo 17, they were up to 22 hours outside of the spacecraft. All of the astronauts who walked on the moon tracked some of the dust back into the landing vehicle, and after repressurizing the cabin of the spacecraft, the scent of gunpowder lingered in the air. Astronaut Harrison Jack Schmitt, who was on board Apollo 17, the last mission to the moon's surface, is quoted as saying, "I always have suspected that the olfactory sensors are reacting to a variety of unsatisfied electron bonds as one would have in both just fired gunpowder and lunar dust newly introduced in the cabin." According to one report, space itself has a different aroma, more metallic or like seared steak, and is thought to be the result of dying stars. Even more than 40 years later, lunar scientists are still trying to figure out what makes the moon smell that way.
Okay. So basically, family, these astronauts, okay, one of the dudes' name is Gene Cernan. They were all on Apollo 17. They just show you a picture of one of the guys that was in his crew, and they brought back rock samples to America. I mean, not to America, but back to the planet. And they said that these rocks, and they said the moon dust smells like gunpowder, as if there had been a major explosion there. Okay, now we dealing with science. We ain't dealing with Negro beliefs. We ain't dealing with the Negro stuff. You know what I'm saying? People who don't study. Okay. So let me go back to brother's video again.
What planet was in the position of the moon right now before the moon got there?
The moon come from the earth.
Brother Shabazz is talking about Mars. Mars was originally Earth's moon before our actual moon became the moon. You know, it was Mars before it was the moon.
What planet was in the position of the moon right now before the moon got there?
The moon come from the earth. And blue with it. How did it come from the earth? The moon came from the earth.
Absolutely.
How?
Broke away from the earth. Absolutely.
And made two perfect balls. Made two perfect balls in the sky too, huh? Yeah, I know. Made two perfect balls. They put up goddamn bombs in Japan, and that took these motherfuckers on its axis. Changed it by some degrees. So when this bitch blew up, how did that happen? What made it separate? What made it separate?
A collision, brother.
It was a collision.
But this is mass. If it hit this motherfucker, it would have. That's you know what I'm saying?
The gas.
A perfect ball.
Yeah, but the gas gravity that poop.
Okay, family. So what the brother was saying in that video, you can go back and find that video. I think it's called, Seti versus the Amara Squad or something. And the brother was saying, how basically the moon had to be very hot after an explosion like that. It had to basically be on fire for something to happen like that. He don't believe that the moon could heat up that hot for something to take place. So as you can see, the brothers are attempting to explain how the moon got out there. So they acknowledge that the moon came from the earth, but they're using a Eurocentric theory on how the moon came from the earth, basically saying that a piece of the earth flew off because of the earth was spinning and it just flew off. Okay, now they are close, but they are not spot on with what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us in the Nation of Islam, that a God scientist exploded the earth and separated the earth. Okay, so I'm going to show you where they're getting their theory from, and then I'm going to move forward.
The so-called fission theory, championed by George Howard Darwin, son of Charles Darwin, held that the moon was once part of the earth, casting off one of the most pronounced examples in this image.
Sorry about that.
The so-called fission theory, championed by George Howard Darwin, son of Charles Darwin, held that the moon was once part of the earth, cast off by the rapid spin of its young parent. For proof, look no farther than the Pacific.
Okay, so in that video, it's saying that they believe that because of the rapid spin, it threw the moon and separated the moon from the earth, but that's not what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teach. But you see, that's what the brothers in that video are attempting to explain. So let me move forward to these other videos.
You can see one of the most pronounced examples in this image of the Mare Orientale, captured recently by NASA's Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, or LRO. The colors show differences in elevation. The old view was that the impact had melted the rock below. A newer view held that the impactor had actually splashed down on a molten surface.
So Seti was saying that that's what basically had to happen if something like that took place.
That early in its history, the moon's surface was covered in a vast ocean of magma.
See, they explaining what
happened. When the astronauts arrived, they found relatively light rocks known as anorthosites. Their presence suggested that heavier material had sunk toward the moon's interior, forcing lighter material to the surface. The rocks they brought back were found to be strikingly similar to those on Earth.
Okay, so scientists are saying that the rocks from the moon are strikingly similar to the rocks
as blood types for solar system bodies. You can see one of the most were found to be strikingly similar to those on Earth, in part because they share forms of oxygen, called isotopes, that scientists regard as blood types for solar system bodies. Then there was this. The moon appeared to be completely, utterly dry, with no evidence that water was ever present on its surface. Not long after the last Apollo mission went into the history books, this initial evidence coalesced into a radical new idea, first presented in 1974 by the scientist and artist William Hartmann. His theory of the moon's formation is played out in this contemporary scenario. Sharing an orbit with Earth was a mark. This initial evidence coalesced into a radical new idea.
Okay.
First presented in 1974
kind of
by the
close to
scientist
what the
and
Honorable
artist
Elijah
William
Muhammad said,
Hartmann.
but not right and exact.
His
But they're
theory of the
close.
moon's formation is played out in this contemporary scenario. Sharing an orbit with Earth was a Mars-sized body called Theia, named for a Titan in Greek myth who gave birth to the moon goddess Selene. Its orbit became unstable, and it headed in Earth's direction. Theia hit at an oblique angle, causing the Earth to spin faster, and debris.
So, family, what modern day scientists are saying that the reason why we have a moon on our planet is because another meteor or another planet ran into ours and knocked a piece of our planet off, and it created the moon, and it stayed there. Okay, now they're close with a lot of the stuff that they believe. They're close to what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said when he said that the God drilled a hole 2/3 deep into the planet, 2/3 deep into the planet, right, and exploded it, and that's how we created our moon. Okay, but we have this individual who don't believe that. Okay, but it's easy to explain when you understand why the planet has its gravitational pull. But I'm gonna play this video again.
Y'all niggas still talking about motherfucking big head scientists, Yakub and shit. Blew the motherfucking Earth. And I keep asking these motherfuckers, they say the motherfucker had dynamite, and he put the dynamite in the Earth and blew the Earth in half. Half of it became...
All wind systems still looking good.
According to all 12 of the first-hand accounts that describe what it's like on the surface of the moon, Earth's only natural satellite smells like burnt gunpowder. 6 of NASA's Apollo missions that landed on the moon between 1969 and 1972 allowed the astronauts to walk on the lunar surface. The early mission moonwalks ranged around 2.5 hours, and by Apollo 17, they were up to 22 hours outside of the spacecraft. All of the astronauts who walked on the moon tracked some of the dust back into the landing vehicle, and after repressurizing the cabin of the spacecraft, the scent of gunpowder lingered in the air. Astronauts.
Y'all niggas still talking about motherfucking big head scientists.
But modern day scientists
blew the motherfucking Earth. And I keep asking these motherfuckers, they say the motherfucker had dynamite.
Listen to him.
And he put the dynamite in the Earth and blew the Earth in half. Half of it became the moon, and half of it. Now, this motherfucker made out of granite and all. Motherfucker, you see a motherfucker drop a bomb on this bitch, it's gonna be trauma. It's gonna be shit toe up. How the fuck you blow the moon and Earth into 2 perfect balls?
He said they're 2 perfect balls.
You know what I'm saying?
2 perfect
and,
balls.
you know, how the fuck did that happen? You know what I'm saying? And how the fuck could you have been on this bitch? You know what I'm saying? If a motherfucker drop an atomic bomb, nigga, even if they drop that bitch in Asia, niggas over here in North America gonna feel that shit.
All right, hold on 1 second, family. Is it still echoing? Press 1 if it's still echoing, family. Press 2 if it's not. Assalamu alaikum, brother Diedrich, Kalanji. Let your brother know if it still got that echo. One no, I mean 1 yes, 2 no. Okay, all right. All right, we're gonna try it again. But I hope y'all heard what the brother said. He think that the moon are 2 perfect spheres. But check this out.
And strangely, although the moon rotates, the Earth's gravity holds onto it so tightly, the same face points towards us at all times, making the features on the far side of the moon a complete mystery.
For all of history, the far side of the moon was invisible to the Earth. It's the back side. You can't see it.
In 1959, Soviet spacecraft Luna 3 flies past the moon's far side and photographs it for the first time. Astronomers expect to see the familiar dark and light patches. They were in for a big surprise.
When scientists saw the pictures, they were shocked. The far side looked completely different than the near side. It's saturated with craters. It just was such a huge dichotomy. Nobody was expecting that at all.
The far side still had massive impact craters, but it was uniformly pale. It seemed like no dark lava had bled out onto the surface at all. But why?
The only solution we can come up with is there's a difference in thickness between the crust of the near side
because just like I played in one of the other videos, the backside is the core or the mantle of the planet
and erupt out onto the surface. Instead, on the front side, where it's very thin, lavas can easily come up through cracks and flow out onto the surface.
Recent NASA missions confirm that the crust on the back of the moon is around 30 miles thicker than the crust on the front.
the far side is thicker. It's not like, oh, part of it is and part of it isn't. No, it really, the other side of the moon has a thicker crust than the near side. That's bizarre.
So one of the biggest mysteries of planetary science over the last about 50 years is, why is the crust of the far side so thick?
The impact theory doesn't really cover that. It just forms the moon, but it doesn't say why one side should be so different than the other one, unless something strange happened.
The new age of supercomputers brings...
So, family, just like I played in another one of the videos, that the moon its core is solid iron. Okay, the moon is solid iron, and it comes out of the mantle of the planet Earth. The moon comes out of the mantle of the planet Earth. Okay, so that's why in that video that you see on the backside of the moon, or the dark side of the moon, is 30 miles thicker than the front side. Okay, that will only make sense if the moon on the backside was the location that the explosion took place when it separated from the Earth. Okay, that it would only make sense that the moon, the dark side of the moon, or the backside, was the location where, like in the video that you just said, that it was that the hot magma can't go through, but it can only go through the front side of the moon, is because that the back side of the moon was plucked out of the mantle because it is solid iron. So it was plucked out of the mantle of the planet Earth. Okay, and scientists are baffled by this, and they can't explain how this happens. And a lot of us, we don't know that iron isn't produced in our solar system. Our solar system does not produce iron. Okay, so just as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us with Yaqub, when he was 6 years old, he was playing with 2 pieces of iron. Okay, and they both had a magnetic attraction on one another. Okay, they both had a magnetic attraction to one another. You have a positive piece and you have a negative piece. Therefore, this is how you get the gravitational pull. You have a magnetic gravitational pull between the Earth and between the moon. Okay, the Earth is positive, it's alive, it has life. The moon is negative. The moon is dead. It can't maintain life. Okay, so you have a positive and a negative pieces of iron, okay, that are attracted to one another. But the moon, when it rotates around the planet Earth, it doesn't spin while it's rotating. You know what I'm saying? You only see the face of the moon. You never see the back or the dark side of the moon. You never see the dark side of the moon. You only see the face of the moon. So, brother was saying, how can you explode 2 pieces from the planet and you get 2 perfect spheres? They are not 2 perfect spheres, as I just showed you in the video. But like I was just saying, that iron does not come or created from the solar system. And iron is also mentioned in the Holy Quran, where Allah says that he sent iron down to us, down to man, because it can be useful to man. And let me show you. Watch this clip.
Iron is one of the elements highlighted in the Quran. In Surat al-Hadid, meaning iron, we are informed, and we sent down iron, in which there lies great force, and which has many uses for mankind. The word sent down, particularly used for iron in the verse, could be thought of having a metaphorical meaning to explain that iron is given to the service of the people. But when we take into consideration the literal meaning of the word, which is being physically sent down from the sky, we realize that this verse implies a very significant scientific miracle. This is because modern astronomical findings have disclosed that the metal of iron found in our world has come down from giant stars in outer space. The heavy metals in the universe are produced in the nucleus of big stars. Our solar system, however, does not have a suitable structure to produce iron on its own. Iron can only be produced in much bigger stars than the Sun, where the temperature reaches a few hundred million degrees. When the amount of iron exceeds a certain level in a star, the star can no longer bear it, and eventually it explodes in what is called a nova, or a supernova. As a result of this explosion, meteors containing iron are scattered around the universe, and they move through the void until attracted by the gravitational force of a celestial body. All this shows that the metal iron did not form on the Earth, but was carried from exploding stars in space via meteors and was sent down to Earth, exactly the same way as stated in the verse. It is clear that this fact could not have been scientifically known in the 7th century, when the Quran was revealed. And we sent down iron, in which there lies great force, and which has many uses for mankind. In addition, the 25th verse of Surah Al-Hadid, which refers to iron, includes two interesting mathematical codes. Surah Al-Hadid is the 57th surah in the Quran. The numerical value of the word Al-Hadid in Arabic, in other words, is abjad, is the same number, 57. The numerical value of the word Hadid alone is 26, and 26 is the atomic number of iron.
So family, make no mistake, you know, that we have to understand why the moon is able to rotate around the planet. Our planet has a gravitational pull, and just recently there was a object, right, that they saying that they believe it's an alien object, jet like a probe or something, and they called it Oumuamua, like it was like a meteor shaped type object, and they said that this object just barely missed the planet Earth and went did like a circle, like a maneuver around the planet. Okay, now if it was just all about gravitation, then we know that this object wasn't bigger than our planet. Okay, so why didn't that object get caught in the Earth's rotation? I'll tell you why. Because it doesn't have that iron or magnetic attraction that the moon does. The moon has a magnetic pull on our planet that controls the tides and the waters of our planet, that's preventing the waters to overrun the whole planet and just wipe us all out. Okay, so what I have to say something to these brothers in their scholarship, because they claim to be scholars, but I just like to say that these dudes are pseudo.
His hair, whack. His gear, whack. His jewelry, whack. And his blood stands, whack. The way that he talks, whack. The way that he doesn't even like to smile, whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck.
Brothers and sisters, there is a problem in us. And God would not come and manifest himself until everything in us was fully exposed or manifested to us. Then, when we are fully exposed, and our defects are fully manifested, the human being can then be perfected. When we make a perfect human being, then we can perfect the universe that Almighty God created and set into motion to evolve toward perfection. Tremendous life was lost by the action of a frustrated and disappointed God or scientist. But every disappointment.
And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that when this explosion took place, okay, many of those people died, and the only people that survived was the tribe of Shabazz.
Appointment turned out for good. For 66 trillion years ago, even though his thought was not good, good came from it. That we now have a moon that equalizes the waters of the earth, that ripens the crops and the fruits. A moon that gives us a calendar that we can tell time. The moon's attracting power on the waters of the earth that it lost keeps the waters from overspreading and drowning out civilization. So we bear witness that all things work for good, even evil is working toward an ultimate good. And those of us who love Almighty God, Allah, and understand that whatever happens is for the fulfilling of His purpose.
So, dear family, I want to say this before I do end this live video, that the reason why I titled this video to what I titled it to, the God who made the moon and his children, because you can tell that we are the children of that God just based on our nature and how we operate. Just as the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan just stated, that there is something in us, okay, that we don't handle disappointment and dissatisfaction well. We are living in a time of 100% dissatisfaction, okay? And you have some of us who are so disappointed and so dissatisfied, just like the God 66 trillion years ago who couldn't make and force, because that's what a God is, one with power and force. We talking about a God 66 trillion years ago who couldn't force, who didn't have the power to force everyone on the planet at that time to speak the same language. Okay? And out of his dissatisfaction, his disappointment, and frustration, he was willing to not only kill himself, but blow up everybody that was in existence. Okay? He was willing to blow up everybody, including himself. And that is kind of reminiscent of many of us black people nowadays. You know what I'm saying? That is reminiscent of many of us nowadays. Okay? That if we don't get our way, we're not only willing to take other people out, but we're willing to take ourselves out in the process. And you have brothers like Young Pharaoh and Sarah Suit and Seti going around like the God 66 trillion years ago, because Young Pharaoh and Sarah Suit and Seti can't force everybody in the conscious community to speak the same language as them, so they willing up to blow up the whole black community, including themselves in it, because of their own vain desires. Okay, dear family. So I'm gonna read Brother Diedrich's comment right quick, and then I'm gonna take my leave. Brother Diedrich Kalanji said, NASA, Dark Mission is a good book that can be used to prove that the moon is from the earth. In that book, the author shows pictures of ancient ruins he used to work for NASA. Yes, sir. All praise due to Allah. And our dear brother, Dr. Wesley Muhammad, also has some good material in his book, The Book of God, as well. Dear family. So I thank you. I just wanted to keep this short. You know, I wanted to do this video, touch on this topic. This is something that has been on my agenda for quite some time. So I thank you for tapping in, and I appreciate you, and I greet you all as I came in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.